Well, hi everyone. Welcome back. So, today is a wonderful day. I hope you're all having a fantastic Sunday. I know, I don't know if some of you are in SoCal. I'm sure some of you are, but it's starting to warm up a little bit. I am not a fan of the heat, so I have my AC on, and if you can hear it in the background, I am sorry. It's a little bit loud, but I am not a fan of the heat, so I am not putting myself through that. So, what are we going to talk about today? Well, this is actually I'm actually really excited to do this topic because I think um, it's taking a lot of content that I've put on this channel and it's putting it all together right now. So, I think that's probably most about what excites me about this content is it's kind of just taking a lot of different things we've talked about in previous videos and seeing it start to all come together. Additionally, I think it's really kind of, gives you an opportunity to kind of see what I do behind the scenes where it comes to managing my channel and thinking about how do I how do I basically make my life easier where it comes to, hey, I have all this content. How do I make sure it's up to date? How do I make sure it's what I want it to be? Because I definitely, when I've compared to when I started the channel, I've learned a lot from there. So just I think it's just really neat where it's like everything's going to kind of start finally coming together. We're going to be talking about a lot of different APIs, and I think at the same time, yes, this is for people who definitely want to learn coding in the sense of like, hey, you want to learn how to use certain APIs, but I think there's also a component where, if somebody has a YouTube channel, this is a great way to talk to somebody who has done this before in the sense of don't make the same mistakes that I did. And hint, hint, organizing your content is very valuable and it's worth its weight in gold. So this whole series is about how I use Python to automate my YouTube channel and additionally the other platforms that I have a presence on. So we will be covering a lot of different APIs in this series, and it's going to span many videos, many videos, because basically each API, we're going to be hitting very different targets. So the first API that we're going to be covering is YouTube. However, before we start actually jumping into the YouTube API, it's really important to give you some context as to what are we trying to automate. If you don't know what we're trying to automate, some of this stuff is not going to make a lot of sense, or you're not going to really understand, why is he doing it like that? Like, why does he care about that? Why was that such an important deal? So part of it is I want you to see how I manage my content, some of the challenges that came along with that. And then naturally, I'm hoping that will carry over to our videos where we start writing the code to automate those processes. So even though in this probably first two videos, we're not going to really focus anything related necessary to coding, they're still really important because A, it's going to give you some context as to why are we doing what we're doing and how is that impacting how we're doing it. So again, might not seem like a lot, very interesting to some people who want more of the coding stuff, but it's still really important. Additionally, if you are somebody who has your own channel, this is very valuable information in the sense of you can now hear from my own experiences, the things I struggled with and the mistakes I made in the beginning where it came to managing my content because I didn't do everything right in the get-go. So now having this experience, I've learned from my mistakes, don't make the same mistakes I did, especially if you upload a ton of videos. So with that being said, let's start the process by understanding basically what do I normally do when it comes to my YouTube content? And what are some of the other platforms that I'm on and things that I do with those platforms? So right now you can see I definitely have an Excel workbook open. This is my way right now of managing my content. So this will change over time. This was just, I needed to get something there. So I had to have something to, I was comfortable working with and could easily modify things. I didn't have to invest a ton of time to kind of get up and running. This is where I'll upload videos. So normally how my process looks like is I will write some code. I will look at the code and I go, okay, that doesn't look right. Modify the code, do it a couple times, and then I will record a video. I've recorded my video, wonderful. So what I do from there is I will then edit and get my video ready to upload. So the first platform I always upload to is YouTube. With my YouTube platform, you have to make sure you designate a couple different things. So obviously your video is going to need a title. There are certain things like tagging. So some tags can be in the description. Other tags are behind the scenes, so the user will not see them, but they are being used by YouTube to help determine who should be recommended that content. So that's where you always hear about the YouTube algorithm. Like, oh, how do you cheat the YouTube algorithm? How do you get it to recommend you? Be my guest. If you can figure it out, go right ahead. I haven't yet to figure it out yet. A lot of it's a recommendation engine. And if you pretty much watch all the content on there, there's one very big indicator that will determine whether you're going to get watched or not. It's how long their eyeballs are glued to your video. So if you're watching that video for 20 minutes, that's going to help you. You can dislike it. You can not, you can like it. That's not necessarily going to impact it as much as you think it would, because naturally you can see content that is very controversial and it will be disliked a ton. But for some reason, it's still getting recommended heavily. I wonder why that is. Because it's keeping your eyeballs glued. Interesting. So that's always important. Additionally, while YouTube does, in some cases, recommend related content, I have to make sure that I let my viewers know, hey, these are similar videos that I think go really well with this particular video. And I'm looking at this right now, and I realize I grabbed the wrong tag. At least I think I did. And I will explain this one in a little bit. Oh, there it is. PowerPoint VBA. Wonderful. Okay, perfect. So this is a way where I can manage what videos are associated with which ones in the description. Additionally, I do organize my videos into playlists. That is actually something I am in the process of overhauling. So improving the naming of the playlist and how the playlists are organized, and adding descriptions, because descriptions are also used in the algorithm. If you're not aware, that's actually another mechanism they use to help identify what is in the video and the content. Additionally, there is a playlist ID in some cases. So each playlist behind the scenes has a unique ID. And so I use that information to determine what position that new video should be in. So I have to make sure and say, okay, I'm going to add a new video. What position should it be in? So when I upload my script, I will insert into my playlist, and that script will return a playlist item ID. And then a lot of my videos, there's code that goes along with it, and that code can be found on GitHub. So I have to basically provide a local, I really don't have to provide the local aspect of it. I just find it easier. A local copy of that file that's stored in my local copy of the repo that I then convert to a URL link that I can paste or post along with my description. Video description, that's obviously very important because that tells the user, like, hey, what is in this particular video? And then tagging. This is where people get into a whole lot of stuff. So tagging. So I have to make sure my video is tagged because that helps YouTube recommend it. If it knows what is in the video, it can help recommend it better. So for example, this is on PowerPoint VBA. Got to make sure I tell it it's about PowerPoint. Got to make sure it's about VBA. And I got to tell it it's about this wonderful object called a media format object. So that's really important. So I got to tag it. I also have this little formula up here that will actually convert it to tags that I post to Facebook. So yes, I do automate the process of posting to my Facebook page that is about YouTube, my YouTube channel. So this is normally what I fill out. So once I fill it out, I go to a wonderful place called YouTube Studio. And at YouTube Studio, I can see all the content that I have currently posted on my channel. So normally when I go here, I end up my dashboard. With my dashboard, I can get just a high-level overview about what is going on with my channel. Obviously, I care about, it's like, okay, so what are the subscribers doing? Also, FYI, we broke 7,000. We're now at 7,500. I got to show you some about this. This one's interesting. So obviously, I want a high-level overview. I can also, if I wanted to, I could actually access the API and grab some of this data. I could grab comments, for example. If I could start identifying, are there certain keywords and comments that I might be concerned about? I obviously care about views. Hey, are people seeing my video? Care about watch time? Are people keeping their eyeballs glued to the wonderful videos, right? That's ideally what you want to see. And then obviously, if you have a monetized channel, you want to see, are you making money off of it, right? That helps incentivize you to keep making content. this might not sound like a lot, but I think for just having 7,500 subscribers, I mean, the fact that I'm making, $260 a month, I'm not going to complain about that. So that's kind of interesting. And then you can also see your top videos. So a very popular series on my channel is TD Ameritrade. That is probably by far one of my most popular series on here. You can actually even go here to see more detailed analytics on your analytics tab. And so here you can get kind of more of a trend. So you can see over time, how are you doing? And, normally speaking, if you look at a 28-day view, it's going to be relatively flat. You will notice that, most time you ideally want it to go up over time. So, and you want to make sure you see little green arrows because that means you're doing better compared to the previous period. And you can just see what's going on. Now, what was really interesting is when this whole COVID-19 outbreak happened, this initially plummeted. This initially all plummeted. And I said, wow, what in the heck is going on? And then it was really weird because at a 28-day view, it's kind of hard to notice it. All of a sudden, it kind of started picking up a little bit. And again, it might not seem like much, but it's actually quite a lot if you think about it. And I think my page just froze. YouTube Studios can freeze a little bit right now. I feel bad for them because I know a lot of them are not currently in the office, and it's hard for them, I think, to manage it. I have some friends who work at YouTube, so I'm like always like asking them, like, you guys like handling this? I'm like, this thing is down. Actually, I have one friend. If it will let me load. Well, while that's loading, this is also my main YouTube page. So if you're a viewer who has never seen my channel and you type in Sigma coding, ideally, I would like this to pop up, or at least a link to this. And then when you click on this link, you will see my landing page. My landing page is where you can get a high-level overview as to what videos are on my channel. If you want more detailed videos, you can see the detailed videos. I think I have like 230 videos now or something like that, some ridiculous amount that I don't even believe that I had on there. And then I have some playlists. And then I have my little like community thing where if I post things, people can see it. And then I can hold polls and stuff like that. Is this thing still frozen? Jeez. Let's just open it up in a new one. Okay, there we go. I don't know. It must have froze. I mean, that happens sometimes. And then I have my about page, right? So again, the content you're seeing here is really being edited here. So back to the analytics, something that I thought was interesting is like, again, when this whole COVID-19 outbreak happened, initially I saw a drop in views and stuff like that. I think it was probably right around here it started going down. So initially I was like, oh, wow, it's like, that's weird. It's going like down. And then when I started looking at after that, it started picking up. And I mean, it picked up right around the beginning of April. I mean, really, I guess it was kind of March. It was probably mid-March. It started picking up and picking up. And then this was like the really crazy one, because before this, I was doing about, I would say 600 subscribers a month, which very happy with. That jumped up to about 1,000 like in the span of like a month. So I literally was doing about, in that case, I mean, 600. And I was basically doing over 50% better, which was pretty phenomenal. I mean, I never had seen a jump like that. And it could very much be related to COVID and the fact that people just have nothing better to do with their day than watch coding tutorials on YouTube. So I'm very blessed in that regard. But a big thing of this is understanding that, obviously I use this analytics page to gauge what content does well, what content doesn't do well. And then that helps dictate what content I'm going to create. So that's obviously very important. And then additionally, there are some aspects that I do automate in the sense of pulling data from these analytics, because if I want to see trends over time. So that's obviously important. Revenue is obviously very important. So, making sure like, you're making money off of it. How does that look? Understanding things like reach. So this is where things really started happening. So you can really see what started happening. It was like, again, right around end of March, it was like bam. And then it just kept going up, 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 and up. stuff like that. Really interesting to see that engagement was going up. The average view, that's been relatively static for the last few months. And then audience. So this is where, again, 56%. I mean, you're talking a 56% jump in subscribers. That's pretty remarkable, I think. And then you can see over time, how are you doing when it comes to revenue? This one's kind of hard to gauge because I look at that and I go, I think that's doing pretty well for a channel my size. I think that's I think that's a lot given that I only have 7,500 subscribers. I've read things on other channels where they'll have like 100,000 and they're only like making 1,000. I said, that can't be right. Like, how is it that, I literally have like a tenth of what they have and I'm making, basically a fifth of what they are. It's just interesting stuff like that. And then I kind of learned that potentially it's about how profitable each click is, and basically what that advertiser is willing to pay to have that ad on that page. So luckily for me, most of my content's very ad friendly in the sense of, it's not about very controversial topics. It's not about like, pornography, violence, and stuff like that. So it's usually very safe. But regardless, this is obviously a very big component. I spend a lot of time here just understanding what videos are doing well, editing videos and stuff like that. So a big thing is you'll go to my video tab, if you're ever on here, and you will see that I have a bunch of videos. In fact, I will say it's probably like 200 videos, 230 videos. The first one I ever posted was November 21st, 2018, which is crazy to think about. And that one's really funny because that one still has only 1,300 views. It's funny. And that's the other thing is you never know what video is going to do well and you never know which one's going to do poorly. There's been ones where I'm like, that's going to be the one. That's going to be the one that does super well. Nobody views it. Then the one I'm like, it's like 8 minutes. It's like literally, it's like 10 lines of code. People love it. I think the best one is the Python script. This one was the one I feel like this is where my channel like took off. And I thought, how funny is this particular video? Because I look at it and I go, it's 8 minutes and it's literally like 8 lines of code. It's nothing crazy, nothing super complicated. This was the one where it was like, it got viewed a ton. Like, look at that. Because this is where it normally falls into. This is where this video is falling into. So just insane amount of views. And then I got a ton of subscribers from it. So just, if you take anything away from that, if you're starting your own channel and you're going like, oh, like, this is going to be the one. Yeah, maybe. But sometimes you're going to be surprised what videos do well and what videos don't do well. This Python script one was obviously a very good one. I think here, the TD Ameritrade stuff, that is a really, really popular series on this channel, just because, nobody was covering it for the most part. Nobody was telling you like, hey, how do you use that API? PyODBC, I never understood why that one took off, but that one took off. Google Places API, again, that one kind of surprised me because I felt like, that was so well documented and I was just surprised that that was doing so well. I didn't think it would. And then this one I actually thought was going to do pretty well was how to use the Excel VBA in Python, because I said, that's really powerful. Because I knew I liked that. And I'm like, okay, if I like that, I said, because I love that stuff. That one I was pretty confident was going to do well because I thought, man, that was a game changer for me. I'm like, if I know I can do that, I said, I know there's other people out there who would love to do that. Another big popular one is the JavaScript API. That's really important. And then here is the SEC stuff. The SEC stuff, finance people love that one. So that's how I try to differentiate my channels. I really do try to focus on content that you can't really find anywhere else, or the content that isn't always very straightforward. So web scraping SEC filings is not a straightforward concept. Like, I still get confused by that one. But it is. It's interesting to see what content does well and which ones don't. And then, people, I think there's other things people do too, is like, they're like, oh my God, somebody disliked my video. And it's like, well, I hate to be the bearer of bad news on this one, but statistically speaking, as your channel naturally grows in size, somebody's going to have to dislike a video somewhere. I hate to be the bearer of bad news. So don't let, one or two dislikes completely, crash your entire view of that video. Statistically speaking, it's going to have to happen eventually. There's a difference between, hey, okay, 60% of these people are disliking it. There's probably something wrong with it, compared to, okay, one or two people have disliked it and everybody else is staying relatively the same. So that kind of is also gauged too. Like sometimes you need to just take the video down and redo it because you just didn't do a good job of explaining it, especially with tutorials. You got to make sure it's clear. You got to make sure it's, straightforward. I've done that 3 or 4 times where I put a video up there and I realized like, man, this is just not clear. And I'm realizing that now. Take it down, redo it. I've done that plenty of times. So that's a big thing. Managing content from here, gauging the content, and then taking this content and making it in a workable fashion. So I do a lot from YouTube Studio. The next big platform that I work on is GitHub. So GitHub, naturally being a coding channel, I spend a lot of time posting content to GitHub, or I guess I should say pushing, to be more specific. And I have a bunch of repos that I make public where people by all means can go on there. They can, copy the repos. They can, fork them, whatever you want to do with it. It's all there. Some repos are more followed than other ones. The big one is, of course, the one that is related to my YouTube channel. This is where I basically put the one-off scripts, right? So things like, hey, how do I use this particular object in VBA, right? So this was a big thing too, where something I'm currently working on, I haven't necessarily finished it, is automating the process of taking files that I've written, putting them in the repo, and then pushing that content to GitHub. So that's obviously something that would save me some time, or don't have to spend as much time doing it. That's something I'm currently working on. But, hopefully here too, if you're going to do coding stuff, it does help to keep it organized. I try to make it as clear as possible. Doesn't mean it's always going to work, but you want to try to do your best to make sure your content is organized. Otherwise, potentially, it becomes very hard to find it. So you want to make sure it's in there. I try to make sure I give resources out there. I try to make sure if people need to reach out, they know how to reach out. And then I also do try to provide links to other repos if they are interested on it, and then ways that they can support the channel if they want to do it. So there's many different ways. I know I've done YouTube's, the Patreon stuff, the Amazon. I started doing the GitHub stuff too. So, I just try to put it in there. I also have an automated fashion where I will add those links to the description. So I'll kind of walk you through that and say like, hey, if you want to have a way to kind of support your content, because I know some of you, especially, it's like, hey, having some type of resource come in helps make that content. That's obviously very important to your channel. So naturally, you want to make sure that people are aware of those avenues where if they need to contribute to the channel, they can do that. So that's very important too. So a lot of content is on here, and then making sure that repos are available. So I do have a couple of repos. One is related to TD Ameritrade, a Python API library. This is my second most popular one. First of all, I do want to do a shout out really quick. You guys have been rocking it with that one. So people have been suggesting changes. They have been contributing. I have loved it because I am one person. I have one perspective. Some people will come in and they will say like, Alex, you should do it like that. And I go, that's actually really smart. And I really like that approach. There was someone the other day, he was talking about like, hey, why don't you think about like the messages as an object? And I said, well, that's really interesting. I said, I never would have thought of it like that. And when he said that, I said, that actually makes a lot of sense. So I said, let me update you on that one, because I'm going to start integrating changes with that, but really interesting stuff. So please keep contributing. It definitely helps out a lot. And I know some people definitely have more experience with certain concepts than I do. So having that experience, having that insight is so crucial sometimes. Additionally, there is an interactive broker Python API. So this is for individuals who want to use interactive brokers. Very popular topic was trading robots. So this is not finished yet, but if you would like to see it, by all means, go on there and look at it. This is a mechanism to build a trading robot in Python. So this is something I'm spending a lot of time on and making sure I'm doing it very slowly because I don't want to rush it, but very important. And then also, because the SEC content was so popular on that channel, I want to make sure that people have a way to easily use the SEC, because I know we all love grabbing the SEC content. Hint, hint, I'm lying. So what you can now do with this one is you can do a Edgar client, make your life easier. It's going to be really neat when it's all finished. That, and it's just organizing, so I love it. Additionally, though, there are certain repositories here that some people cannot see. So some are private, some are for clients that I work with, and then some I am planning to make public eventually. So one, I'm going to have a TradeStation Python API library as well, so interacting with that API. And then additionally, the Excel object model for Python as well. So this is really cool as well, building Python libraries for COM objects using Python.net. That was going to be awesome. So really cool content, but obviously I spend a lot of time on here, so I've got to have ways to pull content, push content, and make my life easier. Another big platform I'm on, Facebook. Oh yes, Facebook. This has been a work in progress. Initially, I wasn't posting as consistently as I would have liked to, but now that I have written scripts that will go out and automate posting of content and posting to groups, that is something I will spend a very large amount of time on in this particular series. Be forewarned, the API can be a little confusing at times. Additionally, it is not straightforward how to do certain things. So one thing I have been a little bit frustrated with using the API is I completely understand you want to know who I am and you want to make sure that I have the right to post to my page. I get that. I shouldn't have to jump through hoops to use the API to manage a page that you can clearly tell that I have created. So that has been something that has been very frustrating. I was able to get it to work, and I will show you how to post content to both a Facebook page and a Facebook group page. So there's groups and there's pages. This is a page. I can post to a page using the API. And then there is a group. The group is the Sigma coding group. I will also show you how to post to this one. So this one, I will also walk you through how to post to a group, how to tag things a certain way, and how to add thumbnails. Thumbnails are obviously very important in some instances. So very important content as well. I want to make sure that people, if you do have a Facebook page that is associated with your channel, we can kind of automate everything in the sense all at once. Just do it, done, get done with it. Additionally, we will talk about Instagram. So when I first started my channel, I used to have an Instagram page. In fact, I used to have a Facebook page, an Instagram page, and a LinkedIn page. I dropped the LinkedIn and the Instagram page because I didn't really find they were generating a lot of traction, and I wanted to focus my time and effort on platforms that I was noticing traction. And so Facebook was one, YouTube was obviously the second one. So I'm one person, I manage all the content, all the pages, all the GitHub stuff. So I drive myself crazy, but I had to make those calls, which is how do I, where do I focus my time and effort? Now that I have made my life a lot easier in the sense of managing my content and making sure that I can clearly tell that things are correct, I will also be showing you how to automate posting to Instagram and getting some analytics related to that one. So this is going to be really in tandem with the Facebook API because that naturally is going to fall under Facebook because Facebook owns Instagram. So we will be walking through how to use the Instagram API to post content and then do things like analytics. So these two are going to be a little bit challenging, but we will talk about it. Additionally, we will be talking about the YouTube API. Naturally, if I am posting to YouTube and I want to do it in an automated fashion, I'm going to have to work with the YouTube API. So we will be talking about the data API, and we will also be talking about the analytics API. Both of these APIs do different things related to YouTube. So the data API is where I, if I want, can grab data related to my videos, things like how many people have viewed it, the name, the ID, and then I can also modify, delete, and insert new data. So I can insert new video data. I can delete a video. I was like, you know what? Don't like it anymore. Just bring it down. And then I can also modify it. That was so important that I could modify it. Being able to take an existing video and modify content in an automated fashion was crucial. That was really what saved my skin in this whole process, because if I didn't have that, I don't know if I would have been able to spend as much time as I wanted to on that component. So we are going to be covering this one in a ton of detail. And then we'll also walk through how to build an application, and then taking that application and using it to automate certain behaviors. So I'm going to be spending a lot of time here. So now that we have at least an overview of the platforms I'm on, the things I do on those platforms, and ultimately what are the goals related to what I want to automate on those platforms, now we can kind of walk through an example of what do I do some days, right? So what does Alex do when he has a video ready and he wants to upload it? Well, that's very easy. First, I'm going to check my time. Yeah, it's a little bit long, but let's do this. We'll do it because it should be relatively quick. So what we're going to do is I'm going to show you how to upload. Well, I'm going to show you how I upload a video using Python. So naturally, we are back here. I currently have a description ready, so I'm going to upload a new video so you can see it real time, me doing it. I'm going to go back to my YouTube page and I say, okay, great, ready to upload. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to do my little create and I say, okay, great, upload a video. This is easy, just select my video, and I was keeping it in the same place. So I just go there and then I upload it and I say, oh, okay, great. So I copy the link because the link is very important. And then other than that, I don't touch any of this. So I don't adjust that. I don't do any of the tagging. I have automated all of that. I do monetize it. I want to make sure I get my money. I'm pretty sure you can specify that too. This is something new, is ad suitability. So you have to self-report now, saying, is there anything inappropriate in your video, adult content? Basically, these are components that potentially could make it where advertisers would not want to put ads on your video, which, luckily for me, my content usually isn't controversial. I'm sure to some people it's very controversial because they're saying like, how dare you? You're going to use Python to do that? What's wrong with you, you fool? So I'm sure some people think it's very controversial, but to advertisers, they probably don't care. So this is a way you have to self-report. You can also automate that as well. And then also you have a video element. So this is, you cannot edit it until you are done uploading the video. You cannot modify this using the API, at least from what I've been able to tell, but I am currently working on that process using Selenium. And then from here, this is just saying whether you want to schedule it or not. I don't touch any of this because, again, when I upload it, I just publish it. I don't make it like, oh, schedule it for, next week, right? I don't care about that. Okay, so then I go here and then I paste my link. And then I have my little formula. This will create it to a video ID because the video ID is always in the link. Basically, anything that comes after that little / is your video ID. So I've already filled out my content. And so normally what I would do is I would click my little button here that says upload to YouTube, because once I upload it to YouTube, you'll see the changes in the video. So what I'm going to do, and to kind of just prove it to you, I will go right here. And you can clearly tell there's nothing different about that. You're like, Alex, there's like, why would you post it like that? So then I go into YouTube, into Visual Studio Code. So this is where I spend a lot of my time. This is where I wrote all my code related to uploading content and stuff like that. I created objects that do a whole host of things, things related to, I don't know, just different things, right? So just all sorts of different things related to, grabbing content and modifying it. Additionally, I have different operations that I'll do. So, checking if a video exists, if a playlist exists, deleting items in a playlist, downloading playlist, whole bunch of different stuff, inserting a playlist, updating a playlist, uploading videos, all that kind of fun stuff. So normally I'll just go into my script that I have, and then I'll just run it. But I would also normally just call it from VBA. And then I sit and I sit and I sit. Okay. And so then it's happy. And so I check, I say, okay, great. So insert it into the playlist. Oh, great. Thumbnail was uploaded. Awesome. And then I get my wonderful description all nice and ready to go. So really important that it did all that. I'll go back into Excel and I notice now I have a playlist item ID. So that's great. So that means it was uploaded. And then, so what I'm now going to do is I'm going to add my video to my database. So I just click my little add to database button. And now if I go into my table, you will see I now have my wonderful new video all there. Got the item, all that stuff. And then I have my playlist. Well, it's not in this one. I haven't modified that one. I now have my, my tags. I have a big old tag database. It's now in my description database. So now I have a description in here. And then there were no resources in this one in the sense of there was no non-standard resource like a GitHub file. So in this situation, there was nothing added. And then there's also, some other stuff as well. And then this one is actually a Power query that just pulls all my files from there as well. So that's very nice. Behind the scenes, there's a lot of VBA code that was written to do all this. So you can see here that it will actually, it will change and add things to different list objects and stuff along that nature. So again, just kind of reiterating, this is what I love about the series is it's just pulling it all together. Here we go, running Python scripts from VBA. Obviously was a very popular topic. Now you're seeing it in action. So pretty cool that I was able to take content I've used in other videos and actually use it to help manage my channel. That's pretty cool. And then, I also have a mechanism if I want to load it and stuff like that. So now if I go back here, you can see it was uploaded. That was very quick. Normally it's not that quick. I think it's quick. I don't know. But this is the neat thing. Oh, now it's got a title. Look at that. And then it was added to the playlist. Oh, and the description was added. The thumbnail was added. The tag was added. That's awesome. So it did a lot of work for me and it made my life easier. So that's really the cool thing about this whole process is it made my life easier. I didn't have to spend nearly as much time putting up the content. I could just click a button, have it be done, and then I could get right back to coding. Hint, if you are a YouTuber and you want to make your life easier, I highly recommend something. If you notice in my descriptions, do you notice I have these little line breaks here and there? I did that on purpose. One thing I really wish YouTube would change about these descriptions is I would like my descriptions to be broken into sections. Because if I can break it into sections, I can more easily modify that content. And it's very important that I can easily modify my descriptions. So I just added it to me because I said, I know, I want it. I'm just going to build it in a certain way. What this allows me to do is now I can always grab the descriptions in any of my videos and I can easily parse them, very easily parse them. And I know exactly what category it's going to fall under. So I can find all my related topics. I can find any disclosures. So if I need to, at some point, update my disclosures, I can easily do it in all my videos in a single fly. That saved me so much time. You have no idea. If I ever need to change any link in any of my videos, I can easily do that all in a single run. So might not sound like a big deal, but if you do not organize your content in some type of fashion, you will hate yourself down the road. And you will be like me, who 2 months ago, I realized that I had to start updating all my links because some were broken, some weren't. And I had to do a lot of this from scratch. And basically, I wrote scripts that would go out and do its best to grab descriptions and stuff like that. But now I don't have to worry about that, because if you go into any of my videos, you will notice I structure them in a very specific fashion. Very specific fashion. That was on purpose. Just like naming conventions of playlist. I want it to be simple. Python APIs. What is the API? Python.NET, all. M language, all. VBA. If it's VBA, what is it covering? So again, might not sound like it's important. Trust me, you will love yourself if you make your life easier by organizing your content. Additionally, that carries over into my databases where I go and grab certain information. I can always go to any of my videos and I can always interrelate the information. So I can always know what ID is associated with what video. I can know what tags are associated with what video. And I can always build the bigger picture from the individual parts. I can know what GitHub file was associated with what video. So if I ever change a link, I know what videos have to be updated and where they have to be updated. Again, might not sound like a big deal, but it's really, really important that you have some way of organizing your content, because if you ever get to a point where you have a bunch of content, you will hate yourself trying to go and update 257 videos. There are some people out there who have way more than I do. I feel for them if they ever had to go out there and update all that content, because if you try doing it manually, good luck. Now, some of those guys, they have an army of people who manage their content, so their life's a little bit easier. I'm not that lucky. I do pretty much all this myself, so I have to be very aware of where to focus my time. So sometimes I'll invest time in writing the scripts because I know, okay, if I just spend a weekend writing the script, I'm going to save myself a ton of time in the future. So very important that you organize your content. And I went way over. I hate myself when I do that. I really don't like going over like that. So with that being said, I think that does it for this video. Again, I really just wanted to give you a high-level overview about what managing this channel looks like, because ideally what I want you to understand is why am I automating certain things and how am I going to automate that. You might not have got everything from it, but hopefully what you can start seeing is that certain things need to be thought through. So how do I organize my content in such a way that I can easily pull it into a script? How can I store my information in a specific location so that way I can easily store it into a script? How does the same content change depending on which platform we're working on? That's really important. So ideally what you came away from this is, if you're a coder type person, you're starting to get the scope of the problem. If you're a YouTuber, you're going, so don't do that one thing Alex told me not to do because you will regret it. So I'm going to promise myself to keep my content organized, right? So that's really important. In our next video, we will start the process of doing more of the admin work, getting things set up, getting our YouTube app set up. Well, not our YouTube app. We're going to go on Google Council and we're going to basically create an application, right? And then we're going to get an app set up on Facebook. We're going to get walk through some of our Instagram stuff, and we'll try to get some of that stuff set up. So that is going to really be focused on just getting certain stuff set up. So we're not going to jump into coding yet. We have to do the admin work. If you skip over the admin work, I promise you it will come back to bite you, because if you didn't set up something correctly, you will notice it. Trust me, especially with the Facebook API. With the Facebook API, it's really easy to do that. So that's what's going to be in our next video. At this point, if you got any questions, whether they are coding related, whether they are just, hey, why did you choose to do that in your particular channel? I'd be more than happy to answer those questions for you. Hopefully, pick my brain. I've done this for a little bit now. I haven't done it for like years and years. So there's might be certain things I might not be able to answer for you. However, if you want to pick my brain and say like, hey, how should I organize that? Or how should I do that? I'd be more than happy to provide my insight. Not going to say it's necessarily worth anything, but hopefully it will give you some insight on maybe what you should be thinking about when it comes to managing your content. And with that being said, we will see you in our next video.